Dobar dan, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, shalom. Welcome to Coffee with the Ambassador. I'm already having my cup of coffee, and I hope you are also having yours. Nice coffee from Croatia. Next time, coffee from Israel. Thank you very much for joining us for this Coffee with the Ambassador. I have received many questions from you, dear viewers and dear friends of the embassy in Israel, and I'll try to do my best to use the time that we have in order to answer them as much as I can. But before I start, I would like to reiterate what I'm sure you probably know, but it's very important for all of us. It's very important that today, in the days of the corona, that we will maintain three basic principles. First of all, wear a mask. I'm not talking to you without a mask because I'm alone in the room in my office, but wear a mask wherever you go, indoors and outdoors. The second principle is maintain social distance. And the third one is hygiene. Don't forget to use this alcohol gel or whatever you have in order to make yourself clean and protect yourselves and those who are around you, either your family and, of course, and your friends and the people on the street. So the principle of today is be safe. Now I will address myself to the questions which you were sent to me. As I said, there were many, but as I said, I hope the time will be sufficient enough to answer all of them. Miss Dubrovka asked me, and I quote, "I would like to ask the ambassador to organize seminars and webinars about Israel as a tourist destination, as well as about Croatia to attract Israeli here. This could be done in cooperation with the tourist agents and tourist guides in Croatia and Israel. Now is the right time to prepare." I think, Mr. Dubrovka, you're absolutely right. This is the time to get ready and to get organized. Unfortunately, there are no flights from Israel to Croatia and from Croatia to Israel. There are strict rules regarding Israelis entering Croatia and vice versa. For that matter, if I have to go to Israel, in spite of the fact that I am a civil servant and an ambassador, I'm forced to go automatically to self-isolation for 14 days. So I think this idea is good. We will try to organize, actually, the Embassy of Israel. Our embassy has been very active since the outbreak of the corona in presenting our viewers the possibilities to participate in many webinars, be it on cyber, on culture, on development assistance, on agriculture, or on water management. I think we have been offering and still offer a large variety of topics which everyone can check out and select his own according to his own interest. Tourism is a great idea. On our Facebook page and also on our homepage of the embassy, you will be able to see many short clips about tourism in Israel. Israel is a tourist destination. And I'm sure that many Israelis are watching the Croatian embassy in Israel's website, which present also many clips about tourism in Croatia. I know that Croatia is a very favorable tourist destination of Israelis, and I hope to see them by the thousands and hundreds of thousands coming to Croatia as soon as possible. And of course, I would like to see many of you, dear Croatian citizens, going to Israel, visiting not only the holy places, but visiting Israel as Israel of today, a modern, vibrant, open society, which has a lot to offer those who come to Israel to visit. Thank you, Mr. Brovka, for your idea, and definitely we will give it a thought how to promote it. The second question is from Mr. Boris. Are you satisfied with the situation of human rights in Croatia? What do you think is the attitude and relation of the Croatian government toward the crimes committed in the Second World War toward the Jews. I think that the Holocaust is trying to be denied in Croatia. Well, I think this is a totally different question. This is a very serious and important question. We have been dealing with this question ever since we established diplomatic relations with Croatia. This is definitely one of the most important topics on the agenda. There are other topics of cooperation, but the past brings us together, us, I mean Israel and Croatia. There have been many efforts by the government to fight, by the Croatian government, to fight those who try to deny Holocaust and to relativize it and to change the narrative as if Croatia was a victim of Nazi Germany, which is of course not the truth. The so-called NDR and the Ustaša regime cooperated to the full extent with the Nazis, even more on many occasions to implement, for example, the racial rules, racial law and regulations. Jasenovac is a place in which many Jewish people, Serbs, Roma, anti-fascists were murdered by the Ustaša and their collaborators. So there is an attempt to deny it, and I think every democracy, including the government of Croatia, any government must fight these attempts to relativize and to deny the Holocaust, which happened on this soil, not on the moon, here, on the soil of Croatia and of course all over Europe. The government has been doing a lot of things, took many steps in order to fight this. If you ask me, is it enough? I don't think so, because it's never enough. This is an ongoing fight against those people who deny the Holocaust, and we have to mobilize all walks of life, intellectuals and workers, high school students and students from the university. Everyone should be together, a kind of a united front against those who use every opportunity to deny and to relativize and to minimize the Holocaust in Croatia, for that matter, everywhere in the world, be it in the United States, also in Germany, but unfortunately also in Croatia. I'm sure the new government of Croatia, the new elected government, will continue the trend in fighting this negative phenomena, and on the other hand will continue and intensify its dialogue with the Jewish community here in Croatia. It's important that there will be an open, ongoing dialogue between the Jewish community here and the government and those who are responsible for this issue. I hope that the trend of naming streets after the commanders of the Ustaša will be stopped, and those streets in various cities in Croatia which are carrying the name of those notorious people will be changed anytime soon. So thank you, Mr. Boris, for your question. I think it's a very important question. It's an ongoing topic that I personally and the embassy is dealing with it, together with the issue of Jewish restitution. This is also part of our agenda. This is in the framework of our dialogue with the Croatian government, and I hope it will materialize and be in a very successful, positive way, will be ended anytime soon. Mr. Ivan, when are we going to have a direct and cheap flights from Zagreb to Tel Aviv via Wizz Air or El Al? Until now, we use these opportunities only through airport of Budapest. Well, you know, I really would like also to have the answer for this question. Since I came, I've been trying to deal with Israel and Croatia in order to establish regular flights between Zagreb and Ben Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv. It hasn't materialized, but you know, the corona has changed all my attempts, and now when El Al is in a very difficult situation, I cannot tell you when we are going to have this kind of regular flights or cheap flights or flights at all. because unfortunately Israel has become, from a green country, has become a red one regarding the numbers of new infection per day of the corona. Also in Croatia, the numbers are growing. So I really don't know, but if we, not if, when we get back into normality, I'm sure that this is, I can guarantee to you that this is going to be one of the main topic of on my agenda in my dialogue, very fruitful dialogue with the Croatian partners and friends. Ms. Nada, the question is, I would like to know your opinion about the Faculty of Forensics, Dr. Dragan Primorac, my good friend, and whether Israel offers cooperation in this regard. Also, how can a student who is about to earn a master's degree from forensic chemistry gets connected? Well, I must tell you that I have very good relation, as I said, with Professor Primorac. And he's not only a well-known forensic expert, but also an honorary president of the Croatian Israel Business Club, a good friend of Israel, and a real nice person and an expert and professional in his field. I visited the forensic laboratory of the police, and I was very much impressed. I mean, and I was also impressed to find out that the forensic laboratory of the police is cooperating on a regular basis with the Israeli police forensic laboratory in Jerusalem. This is fantastic. Whenever I see this kind of cooperation between institutions, entities, persons, I am very happy about it, and I, congratulate on this. As far as for you as a student, I think you have to ask the Faculty of Forensics. Another one avenue is to go and work for the forensic laboratory of the police. This might be very interesting for you. You know, when we talk about forensic, we talk about USC, you know, the USI, the very famous American television series. But believe me, life is much more different and difficult and complicated than what we see on television. But as I said, Professor Primorac is a friend. You can approach him also via email and ask his opinion. And if you ask my humble opinion, try to go to the police, find out. And I'm sure if you are good enough, you will find your place also there. Thank you for your question. Ms. Vinko, on behalf of the Future Association Zagreb Bački Agram, we would like to greet, thank you very much, Ambassador, myself, and to ask, what do you like most about Zagreb? What points of interest do Israel and Croatia have in common? Thank you for your answers, and we wish you many greetings. Thank you very much for your greetings and for your question. Zagreb, what can I tell you? It's a beautiful city. I really like the city from the very beginning, a year and a half ago, since my wife and I came here, and I started to work as an ambassador to represent Israel here as an ambassador. I'm not saying it because I'm polite or something, or I'm a diplomat. The city has an atmosphere, especially in the summer. When you walk around, you see the people smiling, the sun is shining, and the city looks totally different than in winter. What I like is the city center, but with all the respect, I like my neighborhood. I like the Sleme. I like to walk up the hill, especially very early in the morning when there are no cars, there are no other people going there, or only few of them. I like to listen to the birds, to breathe the fresh air coming from the mountains. And when I reach the top, this is kind of catharsis for me. I'm very, very happy. And then you see the view of Zagreb from above, over 1,000 meter above sea level. This is something fantastic. So this is what I like most about Zagreb. Israel and Croatia have many points in common. We are two small countries in a very complicated, interesting neighborhood. We are fighting, both of us, for our independence. We are small, even though Israel by population, by the number of population, is double than Croatia, but still the idea of fighting, being a patriot, and for us being a patriot is not a bad word. I think this brings us together, the human potential, the human capacity, human capital in both countries is the basic and the most important human resource which every government of Israel, and I'm sure every government of Croatia, is going to explode positively for the benefit of the prosperity of the two countries. So I would like to find as many common points as possible and to bridge those common issues, bring them together to build a bridge between the societies, between Israel, between the economies, between the cultures of Israel and Croatia. This is something which I personally haven't started. My predecessor have started it, and I continue, and those who replace me down the chain will continue, because it's important for both countries, bearing in mind the very painful history that I was talking about at the beginning of our session. Time for a sip of coffee. Chivili. Mr. Salad, I would like to ask a political question and get your opinion about this. The question is the EU, after US, getting into Shor's trap, and after the EU, also Israel? Listen, the whole Shor's issue is something which I really don't want to go into. This is a trap which I would like to avoid, because this is based on many conspiracy theories, not to mention that some people turn it to be an anti-Semitic issue. George Soros is an Hungarian Jewish person who became a billionaire and who would like to advocate his idea of open society. And he is being blamed for many evils all over the world, which I'm not sure that he should be held responsible for them. But still, there are misconception, misinterpretation. There are some, not some, I think many people who believe that he is behind everything bad which is happening in the world, which I don't think so, personally. So I would like to avoid this answering directly to this question. But I would like to warn every one of us, be aware, be careful when you speak about Soros, because, as I said, many conspiracy theories are there, and his name is being used to portray what evil is in the world and to deviate the attention of politicians everywhere from the real problem which are on the agenda. But on the other hand, maybe he is behind this. I don't know. Because I never deal with things which I don't know for sure. I will put a full stop here, and I will continue your question, Mrs. Salad. And the question is, could you analyze the possibilities regarding the defense of the EU if US soldiers withdraw? Could you give assessment of the situation on the depth of penetration within the territory of the EU from Russia, sovereign, operational, and information contacts? Also something about China, National Socialist business ambitions. Wow. Though this topic, which has 3 components, I can spend with you at least a seminar, but I'm not going to do it today. I know I will share with you some of my thoughts very briefly. Thought number 1, I think the Euro-Atlantic bridge, Euro-Atlantic connection is indispensable for the US and for the European Union. Any attempt to break it will fail, and I think it will be counterproductive. Yes, the United States would like to have more burden sharing by the members of NATO, and I think personally she is right, the United States is right, but the strategic, the ideological connection, the strategic thinking, and the strategic partnership between Europe, the European Union, and the United States is indispensable, to my humble opinion. And I'm sure both sides will do the best in order to make sure that this bridge will be a solid one and will continue and be also strengthened. As far as EU-Russia, I don't want to comment on the other countries' relations. Again, also here there are many conspiracy theories, a lot of news, misinformation or real information. I'm not in a position to comment on this, so let's put it in the rest. Regarding China, I spent 4 years of my career in China at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. I believe that China is on its way to become a world power. China cannot be ignored. China is a partner for business. China is active all over the world, trying to promote its idea and to assist and to have economic relations. But China also would like to have control on strategic infrastructure assets. I leave it to every country to decide whether China poses a danger or not. I remember China very, very positively, especially the China-Israel relations, which are only growing since the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1991. Only in 1991, because China traditionally was supporting the Arab side against Israel, but based upon the international conference in Casablanca and the Oslo agreement process, it changed its policy, recognized Israel, and ever since then we have diplomatic relations which are a good one, progressive and developing very well, even though China is not a supporter of Israel automatically. Thank you, Mrs. Salat, for your question. And let's go to another question to Mr. Pasco. Matter of return of property of Hall, your experience and procedure in Split and in Croatia. I'm not sure I understand the question, but if you mean the restitution issue, which I mentioned at the beginning, I think this is an ongoing process and dialogue between us, the United States, and other like-minded countries in Europe with the Croatian government. And we hope, together with the Jewish community, of course, which leads the dialogue, which I hope will end that positively at the end of the day for the benefits of, making the right thing for the memory of those who were murdered during the Holocaust, and their property was confiscated either by the Ustasha, the Nazis, and of course by the communists. Mr. Tomislav is asking me, when are you going to confirm to the Palestinians their full sovereignty? Well, Mr. Tomislav, this is a very interesting question. I could have asked this question from the other side. When are the Palestinians going to recognize Israel as a Jewish state and the homeland of the Jewish people? Since I'm here to give you answers and not to ask questions, just by raising my question is to show you that there are two sides of the same coin. Israel is a peace-loving country. Don't you ever doubt this. In spite of what you see in the media, in spite of what you read in the press, deep down, as Jewish and Israeli people, we would like to live in peace under the principle or wisdom principle or implementing the principle of live and let live. Until we reach a point in which there will be an agreement which will stop, which will bring an end to the conflict, we'll have to be in a situation in which we'll have to protect ourselves. And protect ourselves against whom, you ask? Well, Palestinian terrorism, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, Shiite militias from Syria. There are many elements and countries around us which would like to see the Jewish state, or as they call it, the Jewish project, to be ended and to be erased from the surface of the world. But of course, we have surprise for them. We are not going anywhere we are staying there, and we are going to protect our country. Having said that, we are not ignoring the fact that there are 3.5 Palestinians living in the West Bank and Gaza. By the way, we are not present in Gaza since 2005. No Israeli soldier is there, but still terrorism against our settlements in the Negev, in the southern part of Israel, continues. So we know that there are 3.5 Palestinians in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, and in Gaza. They are not going anywhere also. So we'll have to find a solution which will accommodate their aspiration and our aspiration, and especially our security needs. And how shall we do it? Well, there have been some ideas, offers by the Israelis since 1948, since 1947 actually, when the United Nations decided to divide Palestine into two states, Arab and Jewish state, which was rejected offhand by the Palestinians. And since then, what we have been hearing from the Palestinians is the principle of all territory or nothing. Since then, as I said, there were some offers by Israeli prime ministers to the Palestinian leaders, which were blocked and refused offhand. You know how we say, unfortunately, history tells us, or shows us, that the Palestinians never missed an opportunity for peace. And I hope this President Trump plan, peace initiative, will also not be rejected. Has it been done by now automatically, kind of a reflex reaction by the Palestinians? First you say no, and then you think. See what is going on, what this offer with the peace initiative offers you $50 billion of economic assistance, a Palestinian state at the end of the process. So why to say kind of a Pavlovic reaction, no, and then Allah Karim, God is great. So we are ready to stop, to bring an end to the conflict, which has become a long one. By the way, this is not the only conflict in the Middle East. People tend to forget that there are many, many other conflicts within the Arab world as we speak. But this is not our topic. Everyone wants to know the solution for the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And one of the way, the only way, is to bring about a tangible, long-lasting solution, is to talk to each other, face to face, direct negotiations without preconditions. Once we have it in good faith, and good faith, and clean hands, and with the intention to bring about this solution, which no one will be 100% happy with, because only good agreements are those who are not, the sides are not happy with. It means that no one wins. It's not a matter of who is going to win this conflict. We are doomed to live side by side, Israelis, Jewish persons, and Arabs. So we'll have to find out the best way to do it, and how to find out is we have to talk to each other, not over each other, but talk to each other. So this is a little bit longer question to your question, Mr. Tomislav. Full sovereignty will be for the Palestinians once we establish direct negotiation, once we talk to each other, once we don't shoot at each other, once we recognize each other. Especially the Palestinians should recognize Israel as a Jewish state, as a place in which Jews sees as their homeland. So once these terms are fulfilled, I think reaching an agreement will be relatively easy. Ms. Irena, I would like to know, is it possible to get an Israeli citizenship if my grandparents were Jewish, etc., etc.? My dear Irena, this is a question which I am not qualified to answer. I think that the Jewish Agency is more qualified to answer your question. There is a representative of the Jewish Agency, unfortunately not in Zagreb, but in Budapest, not very far from here. And if you want, I can give you the address in which you can send a letter and start the process of getting Israeli citizenship there, providing that you will be recognized as a Jewish person. So you can write to us. The address is on our website and on our Facebook. And I hope this will be helpful for you to reach and to establish and to get what you would like to have an Israeli citizenship. Mr. Anna, or Miss Anna, I don't know, it's written here, Mr. Anna. I read recently articles about some special masks that are supposed to come to Croatia for Israel. Is it true? Where can I buy them? Also, Israel have advanced medicine. Are you close to finding a cure to Corona? Well, let me start with the second question. Corona, every country in the world and the best brains all over the world are breaking their brain, they're breaking their head in order to find a cure for the Corona. Israel participate together with the top countries and institutions in the world, the Weizmann Institute, the Jerusalem University, the Tel Aviv University is participating with others from all over the world. And this is something very interesting, that there is no competition between countries, but there is a united front together against the Corona to find a cure anytime soon. I hope it will be found as soon as possible, because I'm like you. We don't want to go again to a full closure. We want to get back to our normality. And the sooner we find a vaccine, the better. Regarding your first question about the mask, here it is. This is the new mask, which will be on the Croatian market in the few days to come. You will be able to buy it in various pharmacies all over Croatia, starting with Zagreb, of course, but here it is. This is an Israeli invention being produced outside Israel, but the idea is the concept and the system has been invented by Israeli scientists, and this is the way how Israel helps to fight the coronavirus. This is a mask which you can continue to use more than once, more than twice, to continue. Unless it is damaged, physically damaged, you can use it as much as you can. So this is really the mask. I don't want to make any commercial breaks here, but I'm sure the company which imports it will make sure that every citizen in Croatia will know about it. As your question shows, people are already know about it. So go and buy it and use it for good health. Don't forget masks, hygiene, and social distance. Mr. Miracle, I suppose you support Trump's so-called deal of the century. Don't you think it will bring nothing more than violence? No, I don't think so. I think I talked about it just a couple of minutes ago when I answered Mr. Tomislav's answer. We support the Trump's deal of so-called, it is called deal of the century, but actually this is a peace plan which everyone should analyze to the letter, look exactly on the maps, look exactly on the details. At the end of the day, it promises a Palestinian state. This is also a good opportunity for Israel's security. I don't think it will be more bloodshed. Actually, nothing has been done by now, so why there is no reason to start violence now? I mean, you know, the hatred of the Palestinian and the Arab, some of the Arab world toward Israel doesn't need a real reason to start violence against us. We have been suffering from terrorism and wars since 1947, as I mentioned. But the deal of the century, President Trump's peace plan, is a good opportunity, at least shows that the United States is involved in trying to bring about a solution to this conflict, whereas the reaction of the European Union until now has been very disappointing. Criticism before even looking at the details of the plan, whereas in the first reaction of the European Union was that they are going to look into it carefully, but then criticism, it was criticized by the European Union, especially by France and Germany. So I don't think it will bring about more violence. The Foreign Minister of Israel, Gabi Ashkenazi, has specifically said that we are going to implement this peace initiative also in coordination with our neighbors, Jordan and Egypt. We will not do anything which will jeopardize the peace agreement that we have between Egypt and Jordan. So if this is something which is being implemented by Israel, I don't see any reason for violence anytime soon. But, you know, the Palestinians are divided. There is the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. There is the terrorist organization Hamas in Gaza. No one controls the others, and they can use any pretext to start violence against us. It's part of life, violence and terrorism against us. We will overcome this. And we hope, on the other hand, that the Palestinians will come to terms with reality and start talking to us sooner the better. Mr. Sardian, he would like you would like to discuss the Holocaust theme in Croatia. How far has Israel reached in the cooperation with Croatia regarding the Holocaust study subject? Do you feel satisfied with the process, or do you think Korean society should be more profoundly educated over this matter? Is there any chance to see the Jasenovac's memorial refreshed, maybe even enlarged and fully renovated as a museum, such renaissance that we are witnessing in Israel herself with this renewal? I address myself to the issue of Holocaust in Croatia, and I don't see any reason to repeat it, but I think your questions are very, very important. One of the main elements, instruments to fight anti-Semitism, racism, is obrazovanie, education. And the more you educate yourself, the more you know about the Holocaust, which happened in Germany and all over, in Poland, all over Europe, and also here in Croatia. The more the Croatian society is facing its past without ignoring it, without making any discount, so to speak, straight in the face of what happened here, because these are facts which one cannot refute, one cannot deny. The sooner a society does like what I said, confronting its past, like Germany did. I think Germany is a classic example of how a society looked in the past into the eyes, as much as it is painful. And it is painful. It is a must to be done, thing that must be done, an issue that is part of the identity card of every country in Europe in which soils the Holocaust happened. So, obrazovanie, education, is the key word for fighting prejudice on one hand, anti-Semitism, racism, xenophobia, and on the other hand, telling the young generation the true story of his own homeland. There is Holocaust studies in high school. It's never enough. It's never enough, because the atrocities and what happened to the Jewish people during the Holocaust in Europe, in which we lost 6 million of our brothers and sisters, is unique. The magnitude and the pre-planning of killing the Jews, murdering the Jews, it's unique in the humankind history. So you have to know, and knowing is serving two elements, a lesson and also a warning. Because if happened, if the Holocaust happened, it can happen again. So we have to educate our young generation for tolerance, for understanding, for dialogue, and for not being afraid of those who are different than us. Because we are not all the same. We have to make sure that those who are different, minority, will not be crushed by the majority in every aspect, be in politics or in real life. So there is Holocaust program at schools. As I said, it's never enough. I wish I could see more. As far as Jasenovac is concerned, I'm sure the government is aware of the fact that the memorial site must be renovated. I know that the current Minister of Culture is looking into the issue very, very carefully and from close proximity. I know this issue is very important to her, and I hope that she, as a future Minister of Culture, if she stays, and if she is not her successor or minister or a lady or a man, will continue this positive trend of taking into consideration Jasenovac and the need to renovate it, to change the exhibition there, to enlarge it, and to make sure that many, many students, high school students and others, will visit this place on a regular basis. The new curriculum provided by the outgoing Minister of Education gives the opportunity to many schools to go to Jasenovac by subsidizing the trip, and I hope many of them will use the opportunity. So this is what I wanted to share with you regarding this issue. Thank you, Mr. Serdian, for your question, and my hope is that the new government will continue these two elements of more school education regarding Holocaust and paying more attention to Jasenovac's memorial site, which are important, not for us, not for Israel. They are important, but much more important is to you, the Croatian people, than yourself. Let me, ladies and gentlemen, use this opportunity to have a break. Do we have more questions here? My assistant is giving me, keeping social distance, more questions. Okay, Tomislav, not the same Tomislav as no, Mr. Tomislav, the other one. Is there a possibility to open Israeli Culture Center in Zagreb? I wish. It's great opportunity to when you have a culture center like like Germany has, like France has, Spain. I don't think that we will open an Israeli Culture Center anytime soon, but consider my embassy. Our embassy is your Israeli Culture Center. So whatever you want to see, to learn, to experience, call us. We are at your disposal in many issues, culture, definitely, but also economics. So Tomislav, thank you very much for your question, and I hope to see you next in our cultural activities, which I hope we'll do anytime soon. Mr. Mickey, what is making you angry the most in these Corona times? The fact that I cannot go to Israel to be with my family makes me not anger, very much sad and frustrated. I miss my family, even though I like very much Croatia and I use every weekend, extended weekend, to go and visit the other parts of Croatia, which are wonderful, from Lošinj, Cres, Pag, you know, all those wonderful places. Something is missing, and my family is missing. And I wish I could go there. without being forced to go to quarantine. But I understand, and I am a civil servant, and my country needs me here to continue to present the state of Israel here in Croatia to the best of my ability, and this is what I'm doing. So thank you, Mickey, for your question. I guess you understand what I'm talking about. It's not a matter of anger. It's a matter of sadness, frustration, but it is part of our life. So that's it. C'est la vie. Havoy, what positive experience can the Republic of Croatia take into account regarding the integration of agricultural land in Israel? And are there any activities taken by Croatian side in achieving mutual cooperation in this area? Thank you for your question. Unfortunately, I'm not very positive in this issue. The potential of cooperation between Croatia and Israel in the field of agriculture is here, is very obvious. Unfortunately, not enough efforts have been done from both sides in order to promote the idea. Israel has a lot to offer, be it technology, experience. Croatia needs it in various parts of the country. And something, we have been doing some projects together, but I'm not satisfied. I cannot tell you I'm satisfied with this, because in this issue, like many other issues, but especially in agriculture, the sky is the limit. I wish that we could see, that I could share with you more positive information, but I am here not to share only positive information, which is a lot regarding the Israeli-Croatian relation, but also things which must be improved. And this is one of them, and I hope the new government will put an emphasis on agriculture, and as much as they understand that Israel can be a good partner for this, now is the time to make this potential, to realize this potential on the ground. So I will continue to work with the new Minister of Agriculture and other ministries in order to promote the connection, relations between Israel and Croatia in the field of agriculture. Because I believe that here is a great potential for both countries. This is what I call a win-win situation. Good for Croatia, good for Israel. Good for Croatian farmers to learn from Israel how to use to the best ability every drop of water. I don't want to go into this right now, but Israel can show Croatian farmers how to increase their yields, crops, based on our experience fighting the desert, growing green out of the yellow desert, and making Israel one of the leading countries in exporting agricultural products and also agrotechnology. By this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for your questions. It was very interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. I see here, I see this is a question from OSEC regarding the Culture Center. As I said, I can't, but coming back to my last words, again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your questions. Next time we'll do another coffee with the ambassador in a couple of months, and I'm sure there will be more questions and more issues which I would like to refer and update you about. Right now we are all under the corona crisis, and I remind you again, be safe. Think about Israel, think about the friendship between our two countries, based on this painful past which brings us together. And whatever you need, please call us, write to us, and we'll try to accommodate your wishes as much as to the best ability that we can. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and shalom.